Hey, raise your hand if you like paperwork. Any fans of the DMV here? One person. All right. So the rest of you are not fans of paperwork, and I understand that. Give me a few minutes, and you might change your mind about paperwork. I believe that bureaucracy can be used to increase love, compassion, and happiness in the world. I know it may sound a little bit weird, but give me a few minutes. I have many stories to share with you and over 100 documents to show you. But first, I want to start with my own childhood. When I was in first grade, I used to enjoy writing stories. I wrote stories, many different types of stories. And in one of my stories, I wrote a word that I heard somewhere. I didn't really realize I'm using provocative language, but nevertheless, the teacher saw it, got very angry at me, and sent me to the principal's office. I went to the principal's office, and on the way there, I got so scared that I hid in the bathroom instead. And I went back home, and I started behaving not normally. My mom got worried for me, and she sent me to the therapist. The therapist said that I'm just bored, and I should go to second grade. I went to second grade, and it was okay, but I also stopped writing for many years afterwards. Until 20 years later, I was in an art festival in the market of Jerusalem, and past midnight, two strangers approached me, I never met them before, and invited me to their office, which was an empty vegetable stand. I was a little suspicious, but I went along, and they asked me if I had a bad school year. And I told them about my first grade experience, and then they started issuing me this new report card. I got straight A's, but that's not what's important. I was described as a creative child that nobody should disturb to develop just the way he is. And I was sent to the class of love. I was not allowed to go to the class of boredom and fixedness. This piece of paper always fills my heart with mischievous smile, but I also don't look at my first grade experience the same way again since receiving it. Around the same time, in 2006, I started offering people a letter writing service. I invited them to my office, and I helped them to write letters on my vintage typewriter. I listened, and I offered an envelope, a stamp, and a glass of water. And from the hundreds of people who participated, a lot of them said that the experience was therapeutic for them. Some people wrote to a loved one, to a stranger, to someone who passed away or someone who was yet to be born, to God, to themselves. And I was trying to combine the humor and the satire of the refurbished report card I received with the idea of giving service and assisting people, helping articulate their experience in words. So in 2015, I started the Empowering Clerks Network. The first document we offered was the DIY Certificate of Recognition. I interviewed the recipient and I asked them, what do you like about yourself? I helped them write it down, we found a witness, we sealed the document, and once it's certified, it becomes an official proof of that person's unique contributions to life. This is Kimberly, who used to live in a shelter when I met her. Now, for some of us, this can be seen as a tool of oppression for many different reasons. I try to use the embosser and our feelings to authority as a tool for liberation. And over there is the Joy Permit. It gives you permission to be happy, and it's valid for 6 months. Once it's expired, you can renew it either on the website or you can use whiteout. We have many different types of documents. So this is the True Friend Diploma. 2 girls from Phoenix, Arizona, who celebrated their friendship. And on the bottom is the Open Carry Permit for musical instruments. It's valid not for most musical instruments besides pianos, just because of liability. And we found that one good guy with a guitar can prevent one bad guy from creating an event of violence. Over there is the OK Parent Award of a professor who put it next to her actual diplomas. I traveled all over the country with this project, and I issued documents in Trump rallies, in the RNC, the DNC, Women's March, and many, many different other events. Over there is me with a clerk at the New York State Department, and I gave a training in issuing Playful paperwork to recipients of services. I sent adult special achievements to the Deputy Commissioner of the DMV, and a few days later he called me. I offered to issue them together with car registration stickers, and he really enjoyed that idea. We have branches all over the world. We have branches in Taiwan, in Canada, in Mexico, all over the US, in Europe, the Middle East, and you too can start your own branch. If you like that idea, all the documents are available to print at joypermit.org, and you can start your own branch and register it, or you can also do it illegally without telling anyone, and that's fine too. So we have many different agencies at the ECN and at the Center for Supporting Bureaucracy. One of our most popular departments is the Alternative Street Signs. We try to provide a positive, alternative document to every actual document that the government offers. We have a clown visa. This is my clown visa. Gives me permission to be playful, which I need. And it's actually valid and it's in my passport. And I entered 3 different countries with my clown visa. We have a special service for senior students in high school to write rejection letters to colleges. And the racism release form, which you're going to see soon, is also being used in colleges. At the anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, the ECN sent an official memo to all of our empowering clerks all over the world, encouraging people to adopt those who live in hostile countries as family members. I am originally from Israel, so I adopted Mohammad Zarif, the foreign minister of Iran, as my uncle. He did not reply yet, but we're family now, so it's fine. Some of the documents are just fun and funny, and other documents invite a deeper opportunity for reflection. For example, the apology declaration that's helped to save many relationships, including some of my own. And what you see on the right is the hidden fortune wheel, which invites us to imagine ourselves in somebody else's shoes. And it spins, it's a street art installation. We posted, me and another artist, Anna Galera, we posted hundreds of those all over the country. And it got some very interesting responses. One of the most fascinating things for me was to realize that it's much easier for people to imagine themselves as a refugee or someone with a disability or as another gender than to imagine themselves as someone who voted differently or have different political opinions. This is the student that writes rejection letters and the racism release form. And after the wheel, I invited people to imagine themselves as someone who probably voted different than them. And I invited them to wear a Make America Great Again hat for 30 seconds and share how it feels. And this created also some very heated response that you can read more on the website. And for me, the most important document was the Forgiver's License. It's a plastic ID card. And it gives you permission to forgive. Class A allows you to forgive yourself and others, and Class B is only to forgive others. It was inspired by Holocaust survivor Eva Kor Moses, who publicly forgave the Nazis in 1995. And she said that people who forgive are in peace with themselves and don't want to start a war. And she calls forgiveness a seed for peace, which is what I'm trying to do with this ID card, basically. Of course, it's a bureaucracy, and if you want a forgiver's license, you need to file an application. This is the 601C, the compassion exam, and the first side of the document starts with some humor. If person A forgives person B, who benefits from that? Person A or person C, or maybe person B, or all of the above? And then on the other side, there are questions like, describe an experience of forgiveness and how it affected you. This is the application of Marcus Hunter. Marcus murdered a taxi driver in 2004, and he is currently in a life without parole sentence in North Carolina. In his application, he described forgiving his mother on her deathbed, and he also asked me to send him playful paperwork documents to issue to his fellow inmates. This is the first ECN branch that functions fully in a prison, and he told me afterwards that his fellow inmates really appreciate and benefit from these documents. Receiving Marcus' application was a bit of a different bureaucratic process for me, because when I was 18 in 2001, my father was murdered by a drug addict, and he was also a taxi driver. I remember sitting in the trial and looking at the person who murdered my father and realizing that he's a victim himself. We said that hurt people hurt other people, and I did not feel a need for revenge or anger because it was obvious that this person was really hurt. Imagine how the 20th century would look like if this was an actual event. If someone who created mass amount of violence and suffering for so many millions of people in humanity, in the world, would have a chance to articulate the feeling and to talk about and process the beating that he had, the beating that he experienced as a child from his father. What I'm trying to do with my project is to help us using humor to articulate our feelings and our needs. And if that works for you, great. As I said, you can use these documents. All of you, by the way, have a joy permit underneath your seat, so you can use it and issue it to yourself and others. And you can ask me if you have any questions. And the last thing, this is I'm a Village Full diploma. I'm a Village Full diploma holder. I certified it and I issued my own diploma. And I'm trying to use humor to uplift us and have us live lives that are better and happier. And so I hope that when you get out of here, you're also going to have some compassion cards, which I have for you. The compassion card is very easy to use. It's one of the easiest documents to use. Whenever you need more compassion, you can keep it in your wallet or in your pocket, and whenever you need more compassion, you swipe it either behind your ear or underarm, and you gain more compassion. Thank you.